The Inner Circle and Pinnacle storyline is not over, and we have a new TNT champion.
What up, Mox?
Guys, Wednesday Night Dynamite. You know what time it is. You know what you're tuning in for, our AEW Dynamite review. Let's get right into it. The show started off with Yuji Nagata taking on Jon Moxley for the IWGP Championship because they're down to promote New Japan Pro Wrestling, but not Impact Wrestling whatsoever. But hard-fought match, solid, strong match between the two. A lot of show of respect after the match, after Jon Moxley retains his IWGP United States Champion, which nobody ever thought he was going to lose it anyways in this match, but it was a solid way to start off the show.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was definitely pushing the whole Forbidden Door thing towards Japan and the whole strong style, feel. It was definitely that IWGP New Japan feel when it came to like the match, like the style of match, the hard-hitting bruise and stuff. I think Mox broke his nose. His nose is all busted, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, no love for Impact, but we love for New Japan. It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and then Moxley's entrance was legit with the WoW thing. That was very cool. Yeah, that was cool stuff there. Next thing on the show, Cody Rhodes makes his Double or Nothing announcement. Now, Cody Rhodes came out, and he's got issues with Anthony Ogogo. So,
Mr. Ogogo.
Yeah, and he went deep into kind of like he has aspirations to become a U.S. senator. He said that before. So he kind of started his like political stuff going into it now, as he brought it all up, the American Dream, a bunch of stuff. So he went on a whole big thing targeting Anthony Ogogo. Now, does it really work? Not really. I mean, it's a go-go rah-rah speech kind of thing, but he's just testing his, like, I guess, political speeches, because that's kind of what this was. But is there really an issue between the UK and the USA, or this is like kind of like a thing? Not really. I mean, normally this stuff is done with other different type of countries like Russia and stuff like that. So they normally done that stuff. But is there really like a beef there between the two? And then why? Okay, so the end story is that it's Ogogo versus Rhodes at Double or Nothing. So it's Ogogo's first big match, right? They're really pushing it heavy. Now, again, we've talked about the gut punch and he knocks guys out. How is he going to do regular punches? Is he going to do forearms, uppercuts during the match? Should be pretty interesting to see. As that can be his finisher, the punch to the gut. Now, he's bringing back the American Dream, seems for just this one match. He's calling himself the American Dream, Cody Rhodes. Is it really...
versus the American Dream, Cody Rhodes.
Is it really warranted for an opponent of Anthony Ogogo, who's like, I mean, yeah, okay, he's a legitimate fighter and boxer and Olympian, but he hasn't been built up to really much of anything other than the small stuff he's been doing with the factory.
Yeah, this is basically like going to be like a mid-card match, and for you to bring out the legendary name of your father, the late great Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. I mean, you're the grandson of a plumber. We know this, but at the end of the day, like that needs to feel more important. And if it's going to be brought back, it needs to feel special and worthy of being called the American Dream. Like you're bringing one of the greatest to ever do it, and it's your father, but whatever. But this is Dusty Rhodes, and you're using that name for a match that doesn't really have much back towards it, much to it. It's just you and Ogogo in probably like the third match of the night, which isn't special. It's not for a title. It's not for anything special. This would have been good maybe with, for the TNT championship, or if he ever gets back into the picture for the title, where it's more meaningful, where it doesn't have any meaning behind it if you're going against a guy that's basically an unknown and basically like a rookie in the ring. So it's just, it didn't make any sense. They pulled the trigger too quick on it. It would have felt more special, something where he needed it. Even like if you would have brought it back during the Brutal Lee feud, it would have made more sense. Right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you're using one of the greatest names of all time, and you're just kind of, I don't know, it's not special right now.
Yeah, it's definitely wasted on a feud that doesn't have much behind it, right? It's pretty much set up last week, and then boom, here we go. He's bringing back the American Dream just for that. I don't know. I do believe he's probably planning on something, maybe declaring he'll run for political office in 2022. I assume that's why he's doing it now. I don't know. I think it's a little bit too late.
You think it's this early that he's going to start doing that?
I'm not sure, because this doesn't make a ton of sense, the whole promo itself, and the fact to bring back the American Dream, and it's just a random match, to be honest.
He should have waited when it was something serious, something, where it had some backing, something important, when he had some hard times, that's when he should have brought it back. When there was some hard times that he needed to bring the American Dream name back. That's when he should have done it.
Exactly. So it kind of fell kind of flat. Now, the next thing on the show was the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. SCU going against the Young Bucks. Remember, SCU, the number one contenders, and they had to go through an eliminator match anyways. So, whatever. They're taking on the Bucks, and if SCU loses, they have to break up. So Daniels got busted open in this match, really bad, right? So, and then you had everybody on the outside that was involved, Callis and the Good Brothers, and in the end, they end up cheating. The Young Bucks do, because Matt Jackson decides to use that stupid ass cold spray that they use in soccer, and spray that in the face of Christopher Daniels and hit him over the head with the can, and that's the way they ended up winning the match. So SCU has to break up. Now, I didn't like the real camera work here.
It was awful.
Yeah,
so
because it shows, right? It shows the big ass difference between AEW and WWE. Now, remember, made a video long time ago, 6 things WWE and AEW can learn from each other, and this is one of them. All right, so when the match is over, you see Frankie Kazarian's shocked because they have to break up now. Mm-hmm. Then they cut to the back to show Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston destroying the Elite's locker room, and then I think Moxley goes to take a dump in the toilet. All right, but it takes away completely from the emotion of SCU breaking up, and then they show you the embrace after the commercial break. So they go to commercial and come back, oh, this is what happened during commercial, they hugged, and that's it. So you don't get the investment of the fans and the emotion behind it because you don't focus directly on that, rather than you go to the guys you actually care about, Moxley and Kingston. And that's the difference in production, emotion, storytelling from WWE and AEW, and that's where AEW lacks heavy.
Yeah, they missed the boat completely on that. You're breaking up the whole point of this match was you're breaking up a tag team that's been around for years. These guys are like TNA originals, and you're just gonna break them up, and there's no fanfare, there's no thank you SC. The fans said it, but we just heard it in the background. We didn't even get a full the fans serenading them and thanking them. That would have been a special moment, something you could have done at Double or Nothing. I mean, WWE would have had that soaking up and had some tears and show some girl crying in the crowd. Yep. Just add to the emotion of this team that you're breaking up. That it was supposed to be meaningful, and it was oh, we're just have Kingston and Mox taking a dump in the bathroom and calling it what are we doing? It's what's the point of having this huge stipulation when you're breaking up a tag team to just not give a crap about it when you do it? I did like when the Bucks, I forget which Buck it was, but he did the whole Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania. I'm sorry, I love you. Super kicked him. That was actually pretty fun. That was the highlight of that match. But you complete miss. It's get the emotion, get that thing behind it. Tell us it's a storytelling part that that has us invested in this tag team that we've watched for years now broken up. It's come on. He was right there. You blew it.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense, and that's the production and the storytelling that they got to grow, evolve, and learn this type of stuff and not make these mistakes. But they make them quite often if you really pay attention. Now, this all led to the Bucks saying that they will face Kingston and Moxley at Double or Nothing. So that's the main match, right? That's what they want to set up for. And then they also say that the Varsity Blondes are somehow the number one contenders for these titles. So they'll get a match next week. I don't know. I mean, it was the last time you saw Varsity Blondes on Dynamite for the most part. I mean, I think they were there last week on Blood and Guts, right? I think.
Yeah, they were. But Brian Pillman, the Dark Side of the Ring came out, and there's a lot of Brian Pillman Jr. in there, so it makes perfect sense that he would then be the number one contender.
Exactly. Next thing on the show was that AEW World Championship Eliminator match between the number one contender Orange Cassidy and number two contender Pac. How they got there, it's debatable. All right, so the match is going on, and then at one point Pac goes for a power bomb. Sit out power bomb on Orange Cassidy, lands a little bit too high up on his neck, and he is not in good shape after this. You could tell they're buying time. They cut to commercial. Cassidy is in a bad way. They come back and they're not doing a ton, and here comes Kenny Omega. He hits Pac with the belt, and then it goes to a no contest because they both get they can't come to the count of 10. So I'm assuming they called the audible here and had Kenny come out and do this so they can set up a triple threat. If Cassidy's able to compete, he's got a couple weeks to prepare to get healthy. Triple threat between the three of them, Pac, Omega, and Cassidy. Now, it's a scary spot for Orange Cassidy. Hopefully, it's maybe a stinger, something like that. It didn't seem like it was a concussion. It felt more like a neck or, God forbid a neck and a back issue. But it didn't seem like he was loopy because of a concussion. He seemed like he actually got a bit of a stinger. Hopefully that's all it is and he's okay, but this is what you got out of it. So they had to call audible here, but this stuff tends to happen sometimes. He just landed a little bit too high on the powerbomb.
Yeah, I mean, this match, again, we kind of killed it last week. We're why is this happening? Why is this number one contendership match? It just, the eliminator match, it made no sense. I wanted Hangman versus Kenny, whatever. But for this to become an injury problem and kind of have to do an audible and change the whole thing and kind of messes up their plans going forward, it kind of just puts another wrench in this whole feud and doesn't make, the ending. It was what it was. Like, what are you going to do? The guy hurt himself. Hopefully he's not banged up, like you said, for too bad. If he can make a triple threat out of it, then we can salvage it. But right now, something that felt already a little bit off is even feeling more off because we had no consequence because of an injury. So, yeah, it's not looking that great in the title picture right now for Double or Nothing.
Interesting, Kenny Omega came out with only the AEW Championship. He showed up, he showed up, I believe it was last week on Impact with all three titles like kind of just all strapped like from waist to his chest as like a trolling of obviously Bully Ray, who was upset.
That's the way you should probably always wear when you have that multiple championships, try to wear as many like even at your neck, keep it going up.
Just go as high as you can. That's the goal in the end. Yeah. Next thing on the show, we had Christian Cage cut a promo in the back. He's obviously upset with Edge. I mean, I'm sorry, not Edge, Taz, right?
Jesus Christ, why is he messing with Edge?
The forbidden door is actually open. No, but he has an issue with Taz, and then Matt Sydal, he declares that he's going to enter the Casino Battle Royal, and Matt Sydal walks up on him and is like, "Oh, so will I." And we'll face each other next week. Who cares?
Awesome.
Great stuff. All right, so we'll keep going. We also had Hangman Page talking about how he dropped from 1 to 5 because he lost to Brian Cage. However the rankings work out is however the rankings work out.
You don't get either.
Yeah, they're completely abstract and whatever, but he's talking about Cage at Double or Nothing. So he's going to fight Cage at Double or Nothing. Okay, whatever. Next thing on the show, Pinnacle Coronation. They're inside the ring. They're doing their whole spiel and they're talking, gloating and all that stuff like that. Then you have, previously to this, you had Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and Ortiz because Santana got arrested for using a fork in a wrestling match. Like, we're all going to believe that. So, whatever. They want a rematch because, for some reason, you didn't want to end the feud with Blood and Guts. You want to have it as like a bridge to the next thing. So,
aggressive.
Yeah, which it is, right? Because you would think that'd be the ending of a match, the type of match it is, but whatever. So then here come the Inner Circle in this kind of truck. And they're coming in, and the truck has like a gun on it, like a water gun. They come out. Yeah, they come out, and in the back is Chris Jericho. He has his arm in a sling, or in a cast or whatever, a brace, and that was the thing he hurt. It didn't seem like his arm would be the one thing that got hurt in that fall at Blood and Guts. But whatever, he wants a rematch. They spray.
He fell into a bunch of pillows, so you shouldn't have any injuries. Really.
Yeah, technically it's cardboard boxes. If you watch the news and rumors for today that I put out today at 7:30 p.m., I talked about that because Chris Jericho did acknowledge that it was like a bunch of cardboard boxes and stuff like that in there and mats. But so they spray the guys at the Pinnacle down in the ring with a little bit of the bubbly.
Go! That's more than a little bit of the bubbly. That's a lot of bit of the bubbly.
We've seen that before. WWE do that before a couple times, so they're doing it now. And then, MJF says, "Okay, we'll have a rematch, Double or Nothing, Stadium Stampede number 2." So we're gonna get another Stadium Stampede match, and that's the way they'll probably end the feud. Because if Inner Circle loses, they have to break up forever.
Yeah, this was it kind of dragged a little. I don't know, it felt kind of weird to me. It didn't how can you have that match last week and then it's not over the feud? It's like that should be the feud, ender because it's a Blood and Guts match, and it kind of feels more treacherous and more crazy of a finish than the Stadium Stampede would, where it's more of like just a show, more it's a spectacle. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm thinking because I got so much hate about him falling into pillows and boxes and all that crap, that I think that's why they're doing this. I think they probably would have gone a different direction if it wasn't for the hate they got, because it looked like crap. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It looked like utter shit. So it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. This wasn't the best. I get the whole we're just sipping the bubbly and shooting them, but we've seen that Kurt Angle did it with Milk. Austin did it. Didn't somebody else do it recently?
I could have sworn somebody did something like that recently. I just can't remember.
Within the last year or so, I feel, or last 2 years. So it's is that where we're going? And you got a sling, you fell from a cage onto this supposed, ramp. I don't know. It just it didn't flow for me.
Think about it this way: Stadium Stampede felt like a one-off that they were gonna do another kind of just putting it as a yearly thing, I guess. Again, it doesn't feel as hot and heavy as Blood and Guts, right? So you kind of
no,
but it seems like they're calling it audible because Blood and Guts got some hate, right? Now, what you get out of this is that you just had SCU lose and split up. Now you have the Inner Circle doing the same thing. It's just I mean, it's a little bit too much, but whatever.
And like SU has been around for like 10, 12 years. And like we're just worrying about a group that's been around for a couple of years. I mean, come on, that doesn't feel special.
Exactly. Next thing on the show, we saw my girl Britt Baker cut a interview with Jim Ross talking about how she's take on Sheeta and all that stuff. Her whole build going up there. Then after this, we have Thunderosa versus Jasmine Allure in a squash match. Somehow Thunderosa is the number 2 ranked, even though she beat the number 1 ranked, even though it was an unsanctioned match. But if you sit down and think too much about the rankings, would drive yourself kind of crazy because they don't make a lot of sense. They kind of fly in the face of facts. So whatever, she gets the win here, and she'll continue on. Most likely, probably take on Serena Deeb for that NWA Championship at Double or Nothing, as Britt Baker takes on Hikaru Shida at Double or Nothing for the AEW Women's Championship. So whatever, not that big of a deal, not too much to talk about there. Next thing on the show was the TNT Championship match. Darby Allin taking on the best man Miro. And Miro came out, kicking ass, taking names. He was very physical. He was a monster in this. Obviously, Darby Allin nursing the injuries from the week prior when he got thrown on the stairs and almost killed himself.
Jesus.
So in the end,
his arm should be in a sling.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So they're building up like the fighting spirit of Darby Allin. He looks at one point he's beaten and battered, and he looks over to Sting, and Sting kind of just nods, and they fist bump, whatever. And then in the end, he gets choked out by Miro, and Miro is your new TNT champion.
That's enough. There was nowhere for Darby to go. You were right, Excalibur.
The winner of this match and new
champion out of kind of nowhere. Not too much build to it. Miro was kind of meandering around doing some little cornball things with Kip Sabian. Now he's the TNT champion, defeating Darby Allin, who's been on one hell of a run in terms of defending it. And seemed to be the face of TNT's, in terms of that. Now he wins. Miro does. He's the new champ. You had Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page get a fighting Sting on the outside, where Sting took both of them all at the same time. So that tells you a lot about that team, because they're getting beat up by a 50-year-old man by himself. Lance Archer will come out and kind of stare down Miro as well. So maybe that's another challenger for Miro. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think Miro could be something special. I always thought he could be since the WWE days, but this kind of feels just kind of rushed. This could have been something that they could have built towards for Double or Nothing.
Yes, agree. That's where I was going. It's just like, we love Miro. We love Rusev. We think he's hysterical. We think he's very versatile. He can be funny. He can be complete badass as well. And he's been lingering in that, like Kip Sabian best friends crap, or whatever the hell they were calling themselves, best man, whatever the hell it was. Mm-hmm. But like that just sucked. Let's be honest. And then him to have this match, like you said, it feels rushed. You should have booked him as the monster that he can be, that he is. It would have been just better if it would have meant more when he had the title. If he would have pushed it to Double or Nothing, which again is like their WrestleMania, it would have felt really special, and it would have coordinated him as like this monster heel, destroyer of worlds that can beat up the entire division, and then you can go into that Lance Archer feud going forward. This just kind of feels rushed. It feels kind of out of place, and you didn't book him correct, aggressive enough to become the TNT champ right now. It just feels like out of the blue. It is what it is. Hopefully they can book him correct from here on, and we get the Miro that that grabbed the brass ring, that broke through the glass ceiling, all those things that he talked about when he first arrived. That's the goal. But he's TNT champ. We'll see what he does with it. We'll see what the booking calls for it. I mean, I love Miro. I trust that Miro can be a big star, but this wasn't the way to build him for the team title. They could have waited a couple of weeks.
Now, could this be that Darby gets it back at Double or Nothing? It's kind of like a Brody Lee TNT title run. I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's a lot to get into. But guys, that's the review for today. It's a bit of a longer video from us. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure tomorrow, 7:30 p.m., you tune in News and Rumors that will drop then. Make sure you drop a like and hit the chair in the corner, subscribe to the channel, notification bell, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Later, boss.